Looks like things are hotting up again. Here are 19 reasons to watch Firestarter 2 Rekindled. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson at Dave Musson on Instagram, and this is the place where I talk to you about all things Stephen King. Do check out the description to find links to my Stephen King quiz book, to my newsletter, and a bunch of other stuff. But most of all, thanks so much for checking out this video. I hope you enjoy it. So we're carrying on with our walk through the movies and adaptations of Stephen King's works, and we are still not done with made-for-TV stuff, specifically from 2002, as this time we are looking at the SyFy 2-episode miniseries Firestarter 2 Rekindled, the sequel to the 1984 movie, which was based on the 1980 novel Firestarter, both of which I've already covered on this channel. This one starred Malcolm McDowell, Dennis Hopper, Marguerite Moreau, and, well, does it catch fire? Does it set things alight? That's what we're going to discover in this video. So if you're worried about spoilers, if you've not seen Firestarter 2 Rekindled yet, and you're worried I might ruin things, don't be. Anything that might upset a first time watch for you will be hidden behind a spoiler alert, so you can just skip ahead to the outro at that point, or you can watch the whole thing. So if you're trying to track down Firestarter 2 Rekindled, good luck. It doesn't appear to be on any streaming services, and couldn't even find it put on YouTube illegally either. So you might have to do what I had to resort to and get the DVD. I found mine on eBay, and for what it's worth, my watching of this to prepare for this video was my first time ever watching Firestarter 2 Rekindled. So one of the few King properties that I'd not seen before getting to this channel. So I was excited to go in anyway, and I hope you are too. Anyway, who's got a match? Here are 19 reasons to watch Firestarter 2 Rekindled. So what's the takeaway reason here? Pretty simple. It's what happened next to Charlie McGee. That, as I've gone on record on this channel, is something that has always interested me. So I went into this with a positive mindset, despite the reviews. There is also a familiarity here that constant readers will be on board with, specifically around how the shop feels. Those agents at the shop have this looming, dark, disturbing presence that comes across just as strongly as in the original movie and in the novel. And those guys are portrayed in a way that makes you very much want Charlie to burn them to the ground. So what's the hook here? Well, there's this mysterious but seemingly good-hearted agency who are trying to track down all of the survivors and relatives of the original Lot 6 experiment, because according to them, there's been a court case settled and all of these survivors are entitled to a very large amount of money, and they've got checks for them. So there's a list of people this agency is trying to track down. One of the names on that list is Charlie McGee. But everyone kind of assumes that Charlie is dead because it appears she died in a fire. Not true. She's actually living a secret life at the university where the experiment took place. She's working in the library. She's doing some studies, but she's also trying to find a cure for her gift, for want of a better word. The guy tasked with tracking her down, Vincent, discovers that Charlie is still alive in quite a hilarious way, which we'll get onto later, and makes friends with her and convinces her to come to his company's HQ.
Buy a cheeseburger?
Only then realising too late just what sort of company he works for, and that there is no money there at all and no help for Charlie. There's just a burnt up old man called Rainbird who is desperate to see Ms. McGee. So this show has plenty of problems, bad dialogue, pretty ploddy pacing, but most of all the fire is just really disappointing. I mean, I guess there is some real fire in there, but there's a lot of CGI stuff and it's just not scary, doesn't catch, it's just not hot. I could have also, to be honest, done without them reimagining moments from the original movie. Like the way they retell Andy's death and Rainbird's supposed demise is different and not in a good way. Like, I get that they probably couldn't get the footage, but just recreate it. Those are the scenes we liked. Something I do like in this though is how we find Rainbird right now. So he has progressed from this character we know as just a hitman, and he is seemingly in charge of these experiments, and he has also gone in the years intervening all the way from Lot 6 to Lot 23. And Lot 23 has enabled him to produce this little army of white boys, literal white boys, who've all got special powers for some weird nefarious purposes. It's a really great idea, very cool idea, terribly executed, but kind of fun. Now, there is something a bit leery, a bit lechy about how this movie was sold. So on the box of the DVD, it talks about Charlie McGee being all grown up, which always feels a bit dirty to me. Reminds me of lots of articles in the Daily Mail over here in the UK that are just perving on women as soon as they hit 16. It just is all very wrong. And it's not helped that the first line we hear from Rainbird when he sees Charlie McGee is exactly that. Ooh, you're all grown up. It's like he's rubbing his thighs in anticipation, and it's all a bit grim.
Just look at you. All grown up.
So let's talk about the cast then. We'll start with Malcolm McDowell, who plays Rainbird, and he gives a typical Malcolm McDowell performance. He really leans in, he's a lot of fun, he's clearly having fun with it himself, and that comes across in his performance. I've no issues with his performance at all. He's great on screen, he's a joy on screen. The issue I do have is that he's white. Again, Rainbird, one of the few Native American characters in Stephen King's works, and at this point we then have 2 out of 2 movies where Rainbird is a white man. Great. So we have Dennis Hopper as Richardson, who is a fellow alumnus of the Lot 6 experiment, and is someone who can see quite literally everything everywhere all at once.
I see the past, I see the present, I see the future.
I really like him as a character, and his performance is excellent. The only problem is we meet him far too late, and he's criminally underused. Like, he needed to come in earlier and stay a bit longer. We have Marguerite Moreau as Charlie, who is generally pretty good. And for all that I'd said that it all felt a bit pervy earlier, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of hot. And not just because of the fire. Like, come on now. So Danny Nucci as Vincent is okay, and his chemistry with Charlie is kind of sweet, but he's also a bit bland. Like when I was thinking, I wonder if the shop might try and kill him, it didn't really bother me that much, which is a shame for one of the good guys, really. So lastly, before spoilers, I just wanted to say don't be put off by the fact that in the opening scene to this, which is like a flashback, seemingly every shot has a different filter on it. One's black and white, one's like a blue thing, one's like a sepia thing, one's colour, one's a bit blurry, all that kind of stuff. I don't know what they were trying, but rest assured that that doesn't continue throughout the rest of the miniseries. I think they were just having some fun with it. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe they were ahead of their time. Maybe it's something I should be doing on this channel. I don't know. Okay, from this point onwards, I'm going to be picking out some of my favourite moments and potentially showing things that if you've not watched this yourself yet, you might want to save for your first time watching. So consider this your spoiler alert. And if you want to bail here, just find the timestamp for the outro and I will see you at the end. But otherwise, stick around, maybe take off a layer because it is getting warm. We've got some more reasons for you to watch Firestarter 2 Rekindled coming right up. Now, there's obviously no book to base this on, but I do quite like the concept of what they were going for in terms of where this story might have picked up 20 years on. And it also shows that Charlie's interview with Rolling Stone, or whichever newspaper it was in the movie, didn't make any difference at all. Kelsa Breeze.
What the press?
I tried that. It has turned me into a bedtime story to scare children.
So a couple of moments to shout out for you here. I thought the torture scene of Vincent was pretty gnarly, at least for a thing made for TV. And something that made me laugh was when we got to see some of the powers of Rainbird's little white boys, particularly the pusher, who was able to just make a nurse unbutton her blouse without her even realising while he's standing there grinning like a dirty little perv. Which is exactly what he is, a dirty little perv. Which brings me on to my favourite scene. So we see in this that when Charlie is with someone and getting kind of hot, she has to run away and like let a load of fire off everywhere. And I mean, bear in mind, she hasn't even gone all the way there. I mean, I bet to think what an orgasm would actually be like for her. You think yours are good? Are they smoking hot like that? I think not. But this is also how Vincent works out who Charlie is. They nearly have sex and then she runs away and then he puts the light on and half the room is burnt And obviously the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, that must be Charlie McGee. Cool, sure. Okay.
Charlene McGee, I found her.
So when it comes to favourite lines, it's tough because the script is bad. But I did like when Charlie was talking about how it was good that Vincent was afraid of her. That felt like real Charlie McGee.
You're afraid, aren't you? That's good.
However, my favourite line is when Rainbird described accountants in a way I'd never considered them before.
Gil works for me as an accountant, which means sometimes he has to kill people.
Okay, so I didn't spot any connections among the cast and crew to other King works, but did find a couple of Easter eggs. So you may have noticed when we were looking at the video of the original Lot 6 experiment, there's a card held up in front of it, and there's a reference number on there, which is like 000237, which of course a nod to Room 237 from Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Did you spot the picture on the wall of the crow? Was that Randall Flagg, maybe? And of course, the woman coming back to life on the autopsy room table made me think of Autopsy Room 4, which was published in Everything's Eventual in 2002, so very on trend.
Help me!
So finally, the ending. Okay, the actual ending, that was obviously done in a way that was trying to set up a series that nobody was ever going to make. Fine. But I want to talk more about something that happens in the climax, a particularly odd choice. I'm talking, of course, about where Charlie kisses Rainbird to death. What?
Just because I'm torturing you doesn't mean to say that you're not part of my team.
Okay, there we go. 19 reasons for you to watch Firestarter 2 Rekindled. Let me know what you think of this one in the comments. Would you like to see another Firestarter sequel? Maybe with a different storyline? I feel like there's definitely a cool story of Charlie McGee X years later, adult Charlie. I don't think this is quite it, but I appreciate that they had a try. So let me know what you think. And also check out the links in the description to all of my stuff, you know, the usual thing, quiz book, etc, etc. Consider subscribing, but more than anything, thank you for checking out this video. Really do appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. Next time, we've got even more 2002 Stephen King made for TV stuff to cover. Yay!